Trust and surrender. We're going to go through the various levels of how this works. With trust, who do we trust? How do we trust in a world where it's so volatile, so angry, so confusing? Who do we trust? And then we'll go through the surrender part. Why would we surrender and to whom? I always like to start reminding everybody that you are a divine being having a human experience, not the other way around. And the Creator set up the matrix, as you people seem to call it. It's not really that, but that's what everybody calls it. A matrix that will allow you to use life to serve you in every way. You need to be connected to all of those people that you made arrangements with before you came in order to see yourself in ways that you did not in any way imagine was still inside you. That beautiful soul that is inside you, growing and learning from your experience on the earth plane, on 3D, brings you everything you need to know about yourself, the beauty, the not so beautiful, the kind and generous heart, sometimes a hardened heart. Who is it that you see each day of your life? Who did you call into your life? And why are they there? They're growing from what you bring them, and you are growing from what they bring to you. Trusting another person is very difficult because people are not perfect. They're working to grow from the experience, and they have a job to do to bring you a reflection of yourself. Who you should trust is your own divine self, your best friend, the guide that's always there for you, that you, when you're praying and you say the words, you are a creator, a co-creator with God, and your words go out into the universe and it comes back with whatever it was that you were putting out there. Sometimes we're careless with our words because we're afraid and we don't trust ourselves and we don't trust others. So what happens? We say things that are going to come back to us, and it brings with it the same energy, only it's magnified. And then we wonder what happened. What is trust? What really is trust? I always in my life felt that trust was the most important thing that I could develop and that I could receive from others. It's very difficult sometimes because we have experiences that leave us flat, leave us frightened. We learn from the experiences of trust to trust God, to trust the universe will support us. If we put all our trust outside of ourselves, that's when we start to find that we are losing our footing. When we trust the guidance that we get from within and all the sensory system that we have available to us, you will be surprised how your life will change. In the beginning, I can honestly say it's very difficult to trust that you're hearing the guidance. You think you're just saying to yourself something and you don't know if you should follow it. So you ask other people, what do you think? And they'll tell you what they think from their library of reference. And you say, that didn't really match what I was thinking. So you ask somebody else until you find someone that actually agrees with you. And that person you feel you can trust because you know in your gut that it feels right. And it always comes back to your first thoughts that you had put it out there when you were thinking about it and you got the answer from within. But until somebody reflects it back to you, you don't really trust it, right? It happened to me a million times. I'm sure it's happened to you as well. So this trust gets built. It needs a good foundation of practice. And then you will find yourself trusting in yourself more and more. It always starts with self. So you have to trust yourself. And as you practice that, eventually you will start feeling more confident. Yes, we all make mistakes, but in this universe, mistakes actually are opportunities to work on something until you get it right. So you keep going back. Sometimes you feel like you're stuck in a loop of the same old. And it's because you're missing the foundational information. So you will stay there. Your higher self will hold you there until you get it. It's actually a very beautiful journey once you start feeling the adventure of it. Yes, there's hard days. And when I counsel people, they say, I had a really hard week. And I said, that's wonderful. You're doing great. And they don't feel that way. They feel like I'd rather have a real happy week where I'm laughing and just having a good time. And those do come too. But trust is a very important, it's a path, the path of truth. And you're going to find that there will be times when nothing seems to be trustworthy. You feel like you can't trust anyone or anything. And that's a very good moment, because in that moment, you start to realize the only thing I have is myself. I have to learn to trust myself and have confidence in myself. Otherwise, I have to go by what other people say, and it's not working out for me. So consider that good. It's a stepping stone. It's a big one too. And once you take that leap and you start having that feeling that you can trust the messaging that's coming through you, that you take chances until it becomes so easy. You'll start to realize you don't have to really ask anyone else. With me, I have to hear myself ask the question. So I will say it out loud. Not that I'm asking it to somebody else, but I'm triggering myself to receive the answer. I am sure that all of you have had those moments where you actually started to trust the guidance that was coming through. And I've got to know some of you very, very well. And I guarantee you, you're there. You're there. So where does the surrender come in? When I first started on this journey many, many years ago, I was very independent and I didn't want to give in to ascended masters or angels or archangels. When I would hear them say, take up your pen and let me speak with you, and I would fight that. And it was that I didn't want to surrender my independence. And I was fighting the whole process really brutally, only to come to a turning point, because I said to myself, okay, so every time I fight this surrender to my divinity, I end up being brought to a point where I had to make the same decision anyway. So why don't I do it when they call me? Why don't I do it when I get a message and it's telling me the direction to go in? And I would fight it because I wanted to be the one to make those decisions. But what I didn't realize is that my own higher self was guiding me according to what I truly thought about it. I just hadn't recognized it yet. I was too caught up in 3D. I like to race cars. I like to do crazy things. I loved law. I loved being a legal assistant. I loved the legal verbiage and doing things that were helping people to get justice. Justice, that wonderful word. But what I learned as we went along and I surrendered to the divinity and I allowed divinity to move me, I realized there is a divine justice in everything. It shows up because anything you put out there as a co-creator is going to come back to you and you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with yourself. You think it's the other people because they're the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. Yeah. But the truth is, it's really your own energy coming back to you through another soul to bring you to understand what it feels like to be on the other side of a situation. So there you are the one perpetrating a situation. You say what you say and you do what you do. And then when it comes back home to mama, the sender, all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, how could that person be so mean? Why would they do such a thing? What happens, and this was maybe 20 years ago for a lot of you, by the time the return of your own actions, thoughts, and behaviors came back to you, you completely had forgotten what you sent out there. Now it's happening way faster because time has sped up tremendously. And now that return comes very soon and you say, uh-oh, I know what that's all about. And I think about, well, and I was with so-and-so and I said that and ooh, what I did. And so what I would do is I would own it. I would own it. I wouldn't blame the other person. I would be impeccably honest with myself. And I really learned to trust and respect the way I dealt with others, because I knew they're messengers for me to grow, to learn, and to change my mind about a lot of things. So when I finally started surrendering to the divine in me, I started getting someplace. I started seeing my life moving along in a way that was no longer a struggle. We struggle when we don't feel safe, when we don't trust. And I'm not talking about trusting everybody because people are imperfect. Trusting the divine guidance that you're constantly being given, and all the sensory system that you have, these feelings in your gut. You know how you say that? I got this gut feeling, right? And we don't follow it. And then we say, oh, darn, I should have listened to myself. I should have done it that way. Some people say the first impression that you get is before you start thinking about it. Because once you start thinking about it, you start spinning it in your head and everything gets all messed up because we get afraid and we don't trust ourselves. And then we double think it and we send ourselves down a very long path of trying to get past that. We don't need to do it the hard way. We just need to come inside and trust that we have everything we need to become that divine being in action again. It's not that we're not that divine being. We're just not working through all of the blocks that keep us from sitting in that beautiful state of light, allowing our voice to say beautiful things instead of attacking each other, instead of judging each other, instead of worrying about what I'm going to do next. You don't have to worry if you trust that that divinity will move through you, that God loves you, that your higher self will never fail you. When you're in difficult situations, you ask yourself, what is this trying to show me? Why is this happening? What can I do to resolve it? What can I learn here about myself and that person standing in front of me? What is it? And then we move in love. When you approach any situation in love, the results will be love. Love begets love. And when you come to trust that very thought, that if I love those that are even that are unlovable, it's a virtue, says St. Francis. And it's true. I was a hothead when I was young. Whew. It was scary. And when you do that, it's not nice. And I learned that because I don't like when people do that to me, right? So that little saying, do unto others as you wish to do unto you, is very true. Always think before you act or speak. Would that feel good for me if that was coming at me? And then it's called filtering your thoughts through your heart. So all of the sages and gurus and sadhus that I met along the way in my travels, they always said to pause before you speak. If someone asks you a question, or if you're having an action with somebody that's difficult, or whatever the situation may be, take a nice deep breath, just look like staying calm, and allow yourself to filter that thought through your heart. It just happens naturally when you take that breath and you rest with it. And then you'll come to trust yourself a lot more, because you'll notice that your thought wasn't exactly what came out of your mouth. The original thought was, I'm going to get you. And then when you go to speak, if you've paused yourself and that moment happens where that loop can happen with the thought going through your heart, all of a sudden it comes out softer, more loving, more considerate, respectful, all the things you'd like to have happen to you. It's a wonderful time. And the surrender is so important, because of myself, I can do nothing, but with God, I can do all things. That is not just a cliche. It is absolutely true. When I give my talks, as you notice, I'm not reading, because I don't want to be in my head. I want this to come from source. Everybody here is connected at the heart. Do you feel safe? I do. I do. Even if I'm in an audience that I do not know everybody, or do not feel familiar with them. When you love yourself and you trust yourself, those same thoughts and feelings are exuded from you, and people are responding to that part of you. If you don't trust yourself, and if you don't surrender to that divinity, and you're all in your 3D thoughts and insecurities, people feel that. Mean people will attack it, and they'll see your weak points and they'll go for it. Kids do that all the time to each other, don't they? They pick on the weakest of the in the chain. It's just nature. It's just nature. But as adults, it's time for us to no longer be playing in the sandbox. We have to really stand up and do this work on ourselves so that we can lift ourselves into this beautiful state of complete and utter trust. Now, does that mean that you are going to walk into the fire? If somebody calls you in and trust that they're going to protect you, that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's trusting your gut. When your gut tells you, this is not a good thing that we're doing, and you listen. And when you listen, you're going to just take a pause in any action and just rest with it, because your body's trying to tell you there's danger here, and it is not a good idea for you to walk into so-and-so situation. I remember many years ago, there was this contract that had to be signed, and I was feeling very, very uncomfortable. I didn't feel like this was a good thing to do. And so I was sitting there staring at the paperwork, and you know, the small print, how you can't see it if you wanted to. I knew that that would be where the target is, where I should look, because I was being guided. And so I was saying inside myself, show me the one line, if nothing else on that page, show me the one line I need to see. And there it would be, just as if somebody took a magnifying glass and blew it up. And I said, okay, not signing this one, bye. You can do it too, and you have done it. Practice it so that you can come to trust yourself. You see, that's how you learn, by doing. It's the whole purpose of being here. Experience plus knowledge becomes wisdom. No one can give you wisdom. You have to go through the motions. You have to go through the experiences. You have to trust yourself. It's first and foremost. It's the first chakra, the root chakra. That's the fight or flight chakra. And once you master that, you can move up to the next one. Yeah. The surrender part of it. So you get your inner guidance and you fight it. You go into your head and you spin it. And I can tell you, any holy man that I have ever met, or woman, said, stay out of your head, because that's the place where it's going to confuse you. It's going to make you feel so insecure and untrusting, because it's going to bring out all the what ifs. What if, what if, what if, what if? But if you just surrender and say to your higher self, I need help. I need to know what to do. Show me. And just rest. Don't rush. Don't ever rush into anything that you're not feeling 100% about. It's very important. There's no rush to anything, because it didn't give it time for the universe to catch up with it, to support you and to bring you everything you need. So trust and surrender are hand in hand. They go together, because each time you surrender to another what if or fear or whatever it is outside of love, you come to trust that this system, that the creator itself, that my higher self all the guides and angels all around you. They're all there to help you. They want to see you succeed. They don't want you to fail. When we're in 3D, we're not subject to the laws as we rise up out of that consciousness. So you can be in a 5D consciousness still here, but you're operating out of a different dimension. You actually are. Your feet are on the ground and you're grounded. However, your head is in the heavens. You can have peace when others are screaming and scared and running in fear. Like when I go into the drugstore right now and everybody panics, like you think a leopard just walked in the door because I forgot my mask. It was hanging on my dashboard and I forgot to put it on. That's fear, absolute and utter fear. And I'm standing there smiling and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, bless these people, Father, and open their eyes and open their minds. They're not in the same dimension. They don't see what we see. They don't hear what we hear. And we have to trust that we got it right because I've actually heard people say, I'm starting to wonder, I'm really starting to wonder, do we have it right? Yes, you do. You've got it right. You're outside of the fear. Nothing can control you. Nothing. When you trust, you are so sure of yourself. So in this trust and surrender dance that I'm talking about, it's an everyday thing. It's not once in a while. It's every day throughout the day. You're always checking in with that divine part of yourself. That's what Jesus meant when he said, pray consistently all day, every day. Keep that communication between that divine part of you and the human mind that's operating and trying to keep up with you, but it's actually just a switching station, moving information throughout the body and directing the energy to where it needs to go. So let me sum this up. From the stories, it's clear that you understand about trusting and surrendering. And the truth is, if you don't believe in any of this, it won't happen. It'll take forever. Belief is everything when it comes to spirituality. My little grandson, he's such a character, Isaiah, and everything he said, he throws his hands up. I believe, I believe. I said, what do you believe? In Santa Claus. Okay, good. That's a good thing. And he's always saying that, just, I don't know why. And it's so beautiful because it brings tears to my eyes. That kid, because he is so receptive, he believes in miracles, he believes in fairies, he believes in angels. It's going to open him up so that he can receive these gifts, that he'll see the light, that he'll see the things that all of us pray to see an angel, right? Pray to have a miracle happen. And we really, really know that it happened. Trust in yourself first. Everything outside you will shift. Surrender to the divinity that you are. Know that you are a divine being. Think about what that really means. You are a co-creator. So what you say, what you think, and how you act, how you behave, everything that you watch yourself carefully. You really, really live consciously. Be mindful If you hear yourself say something and go, oh, no, 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 I don't like that, just send violet fire. Just say it. I send violet fire into those words and take them back. It's like the great eraser. It'll erase it, but you got to catch it really fast because the speed is quite phenomenal. But that violet fire can catch it pretty quick if you send it out. And I trained myself to do that. You don't want to hurt anybody. You want to have this trust in yourself and in others. It feels so good to be able to really go out in the world and say, you know what? I trust my life. It's going to be beautiful. And whatever isn't beautiful, I'm going to get rid of. Those blocks are the only thing standing in the way of me being the divine being that I am. I am. And when you say those words, I am, be mindful of what you put afterwards. None of the negatives, because the universe responds to I am. And you don't want to see that going out there saying I am. Always tell yourself good news and support yourself with beautiful sayings. Be kind, look in the mirror and go, you know what? My hair isn't exactly the way I want it, but I'm glad I have my hair. I like who I am. Do you like who you are? Make sure you love who you are. It's quite an experience watching the video of this of last week. I sat there as if I was watching somebody else speak, because I'm not developing these words out of my thoughts. They're just coming through. And a lot of it, I don't even know that I said. So when I listen to the tape, I'm sitting there and the tears are running down my cheeks. I go, wow, that was really cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah, that's who you are. That's why we're together, to see the beauty and the brilliance of our light. Love yourself, trust in God, trust in your higher self, and surrender to that magnificent divine being that you are.